Well, a poll has found less than 1 in 4 members of Gen Z feel strongly connected to Anzac Day, and only 1 in 6 would sign up to defend Australia in the event that we were attacked. That's according to News Corp's Growth Intelligence Centre, which found 42% of respondents believe they felt strongly connected to Anzac Day. But that figure dropped down to 23% for Gen Z, so that's Aussies aged between 13 and 28. And when asked about their personal preparedness to defend the country, 16% said they would, compared to 25% of boomers and 28% of Gen X. Now, I can't help but wonder how much woke ideology in the classrooms has to do with this sentiment. I mean, is this next generation so really disconnected from our values, or are they brainwashed by woke curriculum which tells them that they are the enemy, that you're the enemy of the country? Joining me now is veterans advocate Ryan Shaw. Ryan, it's good to speak with you. Thanks for joining me, and also thank you for your service. Before we get into that poll, how have you commemorated Anzac Day?
Today was a bit different for me than usual. I welcomed my son to the world a few days ago, so
congratulations.
A little bit less sleep. I was up. Thank you very much. I was well and truly up before the dawn service today, but I was present when Peter Dutton laid his wreath out at Sanford Valley, and it was a wonderful service to be a part of.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful to hear. Ryan, I just spoke about that poll. Is the Anzac spirit lost on this next generation, do you think?
I don't necessarily think it's lost. I think if you look at a lot of the young people in this country have a relative that did serve at some level for Australia. So there is a connection there, but there is a disconnection in there. And it doesn't necessarily come at a surprise to see this poll, because this is a generation that have a curriculum that has taught them what to be ashamed of and not what to be proud of. So it doesn't come as a surprise to me. I don't think it's lost, but it's just to do with, I guess, as you said before, it really is the introduction of what woke ideology is, and that we should be ashamed of a lot of the stuff we do here.
Absolutely, because I was surprised to find that just 16% would sign up to defend our nation. And in the classrooms now, it says woke brainwashing. And it really does start when these kids are young. I mean, they're made to apologise to the stolen generation. They're told that they're the enemy. Is that why you think that the figure is so low? It's this culture of wokeism?
I just think it's the time spent on this. And I've always said that if there was to be meaningful engagement with the veteran community, or meaningful engagement to commemorate the efforts of those who've made the ultimate sacrifice, it's about reshaping the culture that we had here in Australia in the past. And that is valuing the concepts of patriotism, being proud of your nation, celebrating the nation's achievements, and owning and having pride in the fact that we are a nation of shared values and shared individuals. But unfortunately, too much time now is taken on telling us and forcibly telling us what we have supposedly done wrong in the past.
Yeah, I completely agree. I just think that figure is just so low. Let's talk about defence spending. The Coalition's pledging to spend an extra $21 billion over Labor's defence expenditure. But what do veterans need out of our major parties this election?
I'll take the first bit. From the side of defence expenditure, it's good to see at least somebody's taking a lot of the things that are occurring in this region quite seriously. $21 billion is no short amount, but at least it's an amount. You look at the figures here, what is it? 6 of the top 10 military budget expenditures of nations are in this region, and 6 of the globe's 9 nuclear powers are in this region. And with the rise of the middle class and gentrification, nations are increasing their defence expenditure, but we remain ignorant to the volatility of the region and the fact that in no time in history, except for now, has China, Japan and India been powerful at the same time. So I think to prioritise what needs to be spent would be anything that increases our readiness, our lethality, our regional partnership programs and long-range missile capability. I think they're key to us. Onto the veteran side of things, it's a simple answer. Go back and have a look at the recommendations that were kicked down the road by the current government after the Royal Commission into Defence and Veteran Suicide. More specifically, Recommendation 72, which clearly said the expansion of veteran services. Go back, have a look at what was paid off in the findings of the Royal Commission, and make that a severe, significant promise, and promise now.
Yeah, I mean, and that's such a good point from the findings. We know that recruitment for the ADF is at an all-time low. They're struggling to recruit. There's been suggestions that even the ADF has gone woke. What do we need to be spending our money on right now to bolster ourselves, to prepare ourselves for any sort of attack?
I think anything that focuses on readiness. There's obviously a strong desire to increase littoral manoeuvre capability, which I think should remain as a priority for this country. Long-range missile capability remains a key priority for us in the region, and especially as these capabilities continue to grow. As I said before, with the rising prosperity in this region, other nations are affording the ability to increase their GDP expenditure on defence, and they're increasing these capabilities and these threats to us. It's very hard for us here in Australia because our largest trading partner, who I think takes up 32% or so of our international trade, is also somewhat realistically our greatest strategic threat. And you'd have to ask yourself, if you were young right now, what would be worth defending? Because you have this scenario where this strategic, volatile scenario, they're roaming around the region, flexing their might, flexing their naval power, and the defence advertisements right now are just showing what you can get outside of defence. People standing around an engine bay or typing on a computer. What happened to the stuff that I saw that made me join was a bunch of people in the bush sweating, firing guns, pulling strings on artillery shells and covered in cam paint and in the mud. That sort of stuff's probably going to inspire the right people to join the defence and the right people to contribute to that lethality that I talked about.
Yeah, it's a really, really good point. Ryan Shaw, we have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us on the show on this Anzac Day. Really, really do appreciate it.